C'est la boo, everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I'm your host, Harry Rice. You are listening to the friendliest and funniest source for anything and everything related to the Montreal Canadiens. Tonight was the second half of a back-to-back where we were playing at home for both games. It's just tonight was our secondary home. We were playing in Ottawa tonight. It was a game against, obviously, the Ottawa Senators. I don't think we'd be facing Minnesota in Ottawa, but it'd be very funny if we were, though. It's a game against Ottawa tonight. It ends up being a pretty entertaining game for the most part. A little bit of a shocking announcement before the game. Jacob Fowler was called up. I was not expecting that. I was hoping we'd get him a few games at the end of the year before, once we clinch the playoffs, call him up, let him get another chance. But no, they're giving it to him now. I think that they're giving Jacob Fowler the starter's job for the rest of the season, and especially after the way he played tonight, that couldn't be less true. No, that Jacob Fowler was easily the best Montreal Canadien tonight, and I say that in a game where Ivan Demidov had 2 points. Jacob Fowler was easily the best Montreal Canadien tonight. He had a fantastic game, and of course we're going to talk about it. So yeah, you guys know how this usually works. I'm sure we do the lines, I do my little game recap, summary, whatever you want to call it, and then I do the stats, and then we work our way on out of here. So yeah, the opening lines for the Canadiens were Texier, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, so that's right. Unfortunately, Caufield is sick, so he is not playing tonight. Really hope he's good for the Saturday and Sunday back-to-back, sorry. That would really be ideal. Newhook, Kapanen, Demidov, Bolduc, Evans, Doc, and Anderson, Dino, Gallagher were up front. And on the blue line, of course, Matheson, Dobson, Gooley, Hudson, Struble, Carrier. So Jack-Eye also out of the lineup. A bit of a choice by Marty to scratch the most physical player in a team against a team that is very physical, but spoiler, it kind of ends up working out, actually. And of course, in that, Jacob Fowler does back up. No, obviously, they call him up to get the start. He does play. Jacob Dobesh backs him up, as obviously he would because he played last night in Toronto. Samuel Montembeault, a complete healthy scratch. As much as I love Montembeault, I've defended him a lot on this podcast. Yeah, probably the right decision, honestly. As much as I like Samuel Montembeault, I do believe that his time is coming up as a Montreal Canadiens goaltender. It might have just ended, actually. You could probably say that, I think. Samuel Montembeault had some ups and downs, especially this year. A lot of downs, unfortunately. And you need to go with the best goaltender in the system, and he was playing in Laval for most of the year, so you finally got him up back into the big leagues, and with the way he played tonight, I think that seals it that Monty probably does get traded in the offseason. I don't think we buy him out. It's a one-year deal at $3 million. You're going to be able to find a taker. You might not be able to get a second or a third. It might have to be a fifth or a sixth, for example. But I definitely think there is going to be a team that is willing to take on Samuel Montembeault's contract. The opening lines for the Senators were Batherson, Stützle, Giroux, Kachuk, Cousins, Greg, Cousins, that is Nick. The second line center was Dylan, I should mention. But Cousins, Pinto Amadio, and Fogel, Eller, Zetherland. On the blue line for the Sens, Shabbat, Zub, Clevin, Spence, and Monten Paolo Jensen. So Jake Sanderson is going to spend a little bit of time on the IR. Very unfortunate for a Senators team that needs everybody healthy right now if they want a chance at making the wild card. Linus Ullmark gets the start net for the Senators. Jesus, if we had Linus Ullmark. Oh my God. And James Reimer backs him up, as I believe he pitched a shutout last game. Shout out James Reimer, who I would definitely argue is the starting goaltender for the Ottawa Senators right now. I mean, insane that a 37-year-old has massively outplayed Linus freaking Ullmark, but somehow he has. And I say that with Reimer only having one less save percentage point. Despite that, he's only played 9 games. So yeah, regardless, we are getting the backup of Linus Ullmark tonight. Spoiler, that eventually ends up being good for us. Before the game, as I mentioned, no Cole or Monty tonight for the Canadiens. As I put in my notes, Cole's got the shits. So, Jacob Fowler, again, as I mentioned, he got the call up. He will start. In the first period, they showed Habs fans were invading, of course. So yeah, Habs fans were invading as always. It's always incredible to see the Canadiens fans in Ottawa, in the Canadian Tire Center. It was very much a Habs home game tonight with how wild the Canadiens fans got. And also a rest in peace to Troy Murray, former Ottawa Senators player. He did pass away. They had a nice little tribute for him at the, well, not at the beginning of the game, before the game was played. The Sens do press. There's a save early as Greg and Suzuki end up shoving. Matheson doesn't back away from Tkachuk either. Don't get used to that, unfortunately. 30 seconds in, and we got a penalty as it's Dylan Cousins getting called for goalie interference. The Sens look for the lead right away. The Sens do clear twice off the draw. And then we score off of a failed Senators clear. Safkovsky has a wide open net off a beauty of a pass from Ivan Demidov. And, of course, he's not going to miss that. He ain't Nathan McKinnon. Yuri Slavkovsky, his 24th goal of the year. A PPG at 116. Try to make it rhyme. Whatever. 116. Yeah, PPG 116, probably, whatever. Slant rhyming. Safkovsky gets his 24th goal of the year. He scores from Demidov and Suzuki, who now ties Hudson again with the team lead in assists. We shall see if it remains that way. Habs are 1-for-1 on the power play. Again, we score very early on. That's good to see. The Canadiens have a very good record when scoring first. We shall see if it remains that way. The Senators press. Eller was looking good on this shift. On a wrap try, Fowler ends up holding. Anderson then tries to ragdoll a Senator. I didn't see who that was, but that's always nice to see. Hudson has a good stick to break up a Nick Cousins chance. Back the other way, there's a new hook shot gloved by Ullmark. Habs were getting some press. Doc goes in on a puck battle. He's good at holding the puck in. And the Canadiens go to a penalty kill, 6:30 in. Hudson gets called for a trip. That was a bit iffy. I get why they called it, but I was a little bit iffy about that one. The Sens do cycle. There's an eventual shot wide and all the way back into their own zone. Kapanen has a nice steal. He clears. Another clear at center for Kapanen off of a steal, or off a turnover that time. Evans has some good rushes to kill time. Matheson clears down the penalty kill. Habs are 1-for-1 on the penalty kill tonight. Very nice. Habs do press to look for Struble, but that's off the side of the net. He was given a bit of space to just walk right in. Nick Cousins jumps into a hit on Carrier. Anderson tries to jump him, but he can't even do that right. Tkachuk then cross-checks Hudson. There's no call. Sends press. Giroux has a shot, but that's off the crossbar. Jesus, that was close. Deneau then takes a run at Jensen. Both teams throwing their weight. This felt like a playoff game, especially for that first period. The second period, it kind of toned down a little bit and picked up just a bit in the third. It was a very entertaining game, though, overall. The Habs would then go to a penalty kill with 3:50 left. Josh Anderson turns into a complete moron once again. He seems to do that once a game now. He ends up taking a run at Matt Impalo after he drops his stick. The hit is fine, and then shoves him again. That's too much. That's 2 for interference. Deneau has a clear early. Tkachuk is found for long range, but the shot gets saved. Right in front, Batherson is wide open, and holy shit, Jacob Fowler makes the save. At least that's what it looks like upon the initial play. They look at the replay. Batherson does put it in, and then immediately takes it out himself, so unfortunately, you can see enough white. It is a goal. The Senators do tie it. Batherson with his 24th of the year. He scores from Tkachuk and the flopper. Matheson, not that it's his fault on this one, but he is on for another goal against. Thank you, Josh Anderson. The Canadiens are 1-for-2 on the penalty kill tonight. Suzuki then gets run into by Amadio. There's no call because why would there be? Dobson then with a nice poke on Amadio on a 2-on-1 rush for the Senators. Sutherland shoves Demidov after Gouli takes off takes out the goalpost, I should say. Gooley then goes over to try and stir some shit with Sutherland. You love to see that. Don't go after the rookie. Stützle ends up scoring with 1:19 left. They later clarified, no, Batherson gets that one too. So Stützle took the shot, and because Batherson is right in front of the net, it ends up tipping off his stick and in. So Batherson scores his second of the period, second of the night. His 25th of the year from Stützle and Giroux with 1:19 left, like I said. Gooley with unfortunately lazy defense on Stützle, but unfortunately has to, or else the flopper is going to do what he does best. The Senators do take the 2-1 lead. There is a missed icing on the Canadiens in the final minutes, and the Sens bitch about that, because why wouldn't they? After the first period, the shots are 11-9 for the Sens, who also have a 2-1 lead after the first period. In the second period, Demidov has some good speed, a nice dangle, but just gets stopped. That's a good defensive play. I would imagine that's probably Artem Zub there. Bolduc then has a big hit on Zub, who then holds Anderson, and of course there's no call. Good setup. Suzuki in front gets a look, but that's saved by Ullmark. And 3 minutes in, the Canadiens go to the penalty kill. Hudson gets called for interference on Amadio. That was unfortunately very clear cut. Amadio was a second away from touching the puck before that hit would have been fully legal. However, again, unfortunately, it is not. The Sens push. There's a couple saves for Fowler, one on Tkachuk, one on Batherson. There's a good clear on a tipped pass that goes all the way down, and we get another penalty. The Canadiens are 2 for 3 on the penalty kill. Foegele gets called for a trip on Gooley, so we get 22 seconds of a 4-on-4 into a Canadiens power play. On said power play, Matheson tries to do it all, and of course he just isn't able to. He then quickly gets off. Suzuki comes in way offside off of a pass back from the Senators. However, they end up blowing it dead, and it had touched Doc's stick, so it is actually offside. It takes them a bit to realize, but they do eventually blow that down. Sens do clear several times. Newhook ends up getting cross-checked from behind. There's no call. Habs are 1 for 2 on the power play tonight. Matheson sort of gets stood up by Tkachuk. Matheson goes for the hit and just bounces off Tkachuk. It's not even like Tkachuk sees him coming. He just jams into Tkachuk's ass and then goes down. Evans then throws down Sutherland in front of the net. That's always great to see. There's a graphic shown on Sportsnet that the Canadiens had no shots in 7 minutes. A minute later, Gooley finally gets one for the Canadiens. Doc and Zub get engaged. Tkachuk doesn't want any of Zach Bolduc because obviously he doesn't. He's a fighter who just refuses to fight. That's what Tkachuk's game is. There's a turnover right to Slafkovsky, but he tries to pass to Suzuki. That gets broken up. Suzuki then gets found right in front. There's a chance, but that doesn't find the net or find Ullmark for a save. Habs do press. There's a look, and he ends up poking one loose. Gooley can't bury it. Habs pressure again. Nothing is getting past Ullmark yet. Hudson does a great poke on Giroux, who's looking for the 3-1 goal. Hudson had a pretty good defensive game tonight, in my opinion. I thought Hudson was very, very good in his own zone. Very good with the stick. Decent with the body. I really like Hudson's defensive game. Don't be surprised when he's a mainstay getting nominated for the Norris every year. Starting this year, probably. Don't be surprised if he's in the top 3 every year for the next 15 years, probably. Habs end up icing one with 4 minutes left. Sens then ice it 20 seconds later. Slafkovsky, though, a good rush. Finds the post. No goal. The announcers thought it was in. Some people in the building thought it was in, but no, it's not. Shit. Back the other way. Michael Amadio gets on a break, and it's saved. And the rebound also sent wide. Habs go back the other way. Texier from behind the net gets on a wrap, and he scores. Just barely beats Ullmark. His pad is on the puck as it crosses the line. It's clearly in, though. And yeah, Texier has tied it 2-2 with just about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. He gets it. Texier with his 8th of the year from Hudson and Evans. So Hudson with his 55th assist overtakes Suzuki again. And Jake Evans with the assist on that goal. He has a 6-game point streak now. shout out Jake Evans again. Very casually just being very good right now. Shout out Jake Evans again. Fourth line center. Just nuts. Omar ends up holding one. The Habs had a bit of momentum after that goal all of a sudden. There was a rush for the Sens, but Greg goes to Tkachuk, and a very good save by Fowler. Habs end up icing it. Both teams just shut each other down in the last couple minutes. There's an icing with 12 seconds left, but nothing comes of it. The shots, 21-17 for the Sens, and a 2-2 tie game after 40 minutes of play. In the third period, off a puck battle, Matheson has a shot, but that's wide. Kapanen on a rush goes to Demidov. That is just wide. Habs end up with an icing at 2 minutes. Anderson's stick ends up breaking on a dump. That's some bad luck. A short while after, we get a little bit of broken glass to the right of Fowler. I think there was a shot that ends up hitting the glass just right. Just cracks. They have to replace it. That takes a couple minutes. Afterwards, the Habs do look to press on a good shift for Demidov, and at 5 minutes, we get some 4-on-4. Batherson gets called for a hold, which ends up leading to a Demidov high stick. Don't really know if you should have called Demidov there. The only reason he gives a high stick is because Batherson holds him, but regardless, 4-on-4 should help the Canadiens, you would think. And it sort of does. The Habs get a good rush going. Dobson ends up getting a backhander, but that's saved. Tkachuk then cross-checks Slav when he's down. There's no call because why would there be? We end up back at 5 aside. Fogle has a shot saved with the pad. Habs do clear. Matheson, while the Canadiens are trying to pressure, there's a pass to Newhook from Matheson. Doesn't get all of the slapper that he wanted at the line. Like to see that at least, though. I would like seeing Newhook taking a couple slappers. That 70s line is out there. We've got Evans. Who was it? It was Evans, Bolduc, and why can't I remember who else was out there? Doc. It was Doc, Evans, and Newhook. Bolduc, sorry, that were out there. So that 70s line, that's fun. Shout out the 2014 LA Kings, I believe, specifically. Doc right in front tries to bury a loose rebound off of a really damn good Matheson dangle. Just can't finish it. Neither can Doc. Giroux goes after Bolduc while Doc is taken down. There's no calls once again. There's a Matheson shot that breaks Amadio's stick. Sens end up icing it. Habs press after a brief Tkachuk chance. Hudson gets taken down in front of the net as Suzuki looks for him. Of course, there's no call. However, puck don't lie. The Habs score on the very next shift. It's not Hudson, so it's not an exact puck don't lie. But there's a long-range shot from Newhook. The rebound is right there, and who else puts it home but the man who loves scoring goals on the road, Ivan Demidov, pokes at it, and it's in the back of the net with 8:20 left in the game. Ivan Demidov, his 14th of the year. He scores from Newhook and Giroux. He gives the Canadiens the lead. All they got to do is survive another 8 minutes, and this game is done. Sorry, 7:20, I should say. 7:20 left in the game, not 8:20. So yeah, they just got to survive another 7.5 minutes, and this game's done. Cleveland has a shot deflected out after a Senators cycle. Habs fans are doing the wave in Ottawa. This is genuinely embarrassing if you are an Ottawa Senators fan. They did not show up tonight. It seriously was a Canadiens home game tonight. Love to see it if you're a Canadiens fan, though. Senators do press. Giroux on a wrap puts it on net. Fowler can't hold it, but the Habs eventually get the clear after a lucky bounce goes their way. Galley has a long shot saved. I said out loud, he's not Frederik Andersen. He's not going to allow a softie at this stage. So naturally, the Canadiens score. No, unfortunately, that did not happen. Carey has a shot loose. The rebound again. Nobody is there to get it this time, though, unfortunately. The Habs trying to keep the puck out of the zone after an icing. Suzuki has a good bat out of midair. Anderson sends one into neutral. Just not enough for the icing second time around. Olmark goes to the bench for 2:20. Slav gets one almost immediately as he gets to the bench. Or gets on the puck, I should say. The shot just misses. Second chance gets saved by Tomas Chabot. Sends into pressing. There's a chance stopped. There's a rebound. And holy shit, Fowler dives out and makes the save. Literal game saver. Jacob Fowler is phenomenal. The Habs get a clear with 20 seconds left after a great save from Fowler. Habs can barely clear. They come back in through the Senators with 10 seconds left. Giroux trying to get the tie. Fowler makes 2 great saves at the last second. That's it. The Canadiens hold off the Senators. Specifically, Jacob Fowler holds off the Ottawa Senators. The Canadiens get the 3-2 win in regulation. The final shots, 34-26 for the Montreal Canadiens. My goodness. Just head exploding sound effect. The Montreal Canadiens get another victory when it looks like they're probably going to go down. They're going to allow a tying goal. Nope. The Canadiens hold on. Jacob Fowler is here to stay. The brick wall in net. We had Carey Price. We had Patrick Waugh. We had Ken Dryden. We had Jacques Plante. Meet the next best thing in Canadiens goaltending. His name is Jacob F. Fowler. God. So yeah, the Canadiens hold on. A huge 2 points for the Canadiens. What would have been a very big 2 points for the Senators, who would have been just 3 points back of the Boston Bruins for the second wild card place. With this win, the Canadiens remain jumped over the Detroit Red Wings. However, also now tie the Tampa Bay Lightning for second in the Atlantic Division. The only problem, the Lightning, while they do suck right now, do have a game in hand, which could end up being huge for them should they win that game. Should they not, Canadiens have a little bit of an advantage, it looks like. The Canadiens now just, by the way, 4 points back of the red hot, somehow, Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres are the first team in the Atlantic to 40 wins. The Lightning could get there with one more win. Canadiens, it's only going to take 4 more wins. I think they can definitely get it by game 70. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, the Habs with a huge win. The Canadiens are going to need to keep being on a freaking roll if they want to make the playoffs. Right now, it's looking like Columbus, they're not chasing the wild card. They're probably going to have to chase a second or third place spot in the Metro Division. We shall see what happens. Let's get the Islanders out of the playoffs because we need the NHL to make revenue in the playoffs. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would probably believe Columbus could get more revenue than the Islanders. So, yeah, that does it for the actual game recap. Let's get into the stats. Let's do it to it. So, yeah, who leads the... come on, Nick Suzuki. I don't even think I need to ask that question anymore. Nick Suzuki leads the team with 21 goals, 54 assists, and 75 points. Lane Hudson has 11 goals and 55 assists for 66 points, along with 7 points in 5 games this month. Safe to say, Lane is just a little good. Gold Caufield, who is unfortunately injured... sick? I don't know exactly how to call it, but he leads the Canadiens in goals with 37. He also has 27 assists for 64 points this year. Juraj Slafkovsky, 24 goals and 29 assists for 53 points this season, along with 3 goals and 4 assists in his last 5 games. He has been quite good too. Ivan Demidov with 14 goals, 37 assists for 51 points. Noah Dobson, 12 goals, 30 assists for 42 points. Oliver Kapanen with 20 goals, 13 assists for 33 points. Mike Matheson, 6 goals, 27 assists for 33 points. Zach Bolduc, 10 goals, 16 assists for 26 points. He is on a 25-game goalless drought. Insane. Josh Anderson with 12 goals, 8 assists, 20 points. He is on a 7-game pointless drought. Jake Evans has 10 goals and 10 assists for 20 points. He's on a 6-game point streak. Alexander Texier with 8 goals, 12 assists for 20 points. Alexander Carrier with 7 goals, 13 assists for 20 points. Brendan Gallagher with 6 goals, 14 assists for 20 points. A lot of guys at 20 points right now. Alex Newhook with 8 goals, 10 assists for 18 points. Kirby Dach, 8 goals, 6 assists for 14 points. Phil Deneau, 5 goals and 6 assists for 11 points. Jaden Struble with 9 assists. Caden Gooley with a goal and 6 assists for 7 points. Sammy Blais. Sammy Blais, in his time with the Canadiens, before he got sent down to Laval, had 2 goals, 3 assists, and 5 points. Joe Veleno with 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. 10-game pointless drought. He hasn't been in the lineup. That's why it's not going up, blah, blah, blah. Arbor Jacki has a goal and an assist for 2 points. He is on a 26-game pointless drought. Yeah, again, he was a healthy scratch. That's why it doesn't go up to 27 tonight. Owen Beck had a goal in the NHL and a 7-game pointless drought before he was sent back to Laval. Patrick Laine, who is unfortunately still hurt. Florian Jacki and Jared Davidson, who are both in Laval, all have an assist this year so far. Arbor Jacki obviously leads the Canadiens with 7 fights. Josh Anderson and James Struble each have 2. Brendan Gallagher, Kirby Doc, Caden Gooley, Joe Veleno, and Florian Jacki all also have a fight this year. That's very fun. Jacob Fowler leads the Canadiens with a 21-6-4 record, a 2.97 goals against average, and an .892 save percentage. Samuel Montembeault has a 10-8-4 record, a 3.43 goals against average, and an .872 save percentage. And Jacob Fowler, back in the NHL after tonight, has a 5-4-2 record, a 2.56 goals against average, a .906 save percentage, and a lone shutout for the Montreal Canadiens this year. So yeah, that is going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube, hit the follow if you're on Amazon, Spotify, wherever you might be listening to the podcast on, and don't forget to share the podcast with anyone who you think might enjoy it, such as a fellow Montreal Canadiens fan, a hockey fan who's maybe looking for a Montreal Canadiens podcast, or someone who you think just might enjoy listening to some fat kid from Quebec talk about the Montreal Canadiens for half an hour after every game. That is going to do it again for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching, and always remember, no matter how good we were last year, how pretty good we are like this year, or how great we'll be in the future, go Habs go, Allez Montreal, and say with me everybody, c'est la boue!